Every year for the past 5 summers, I've been stalked, harassed, and assaulted by these vile fucking creatures. And my vendetta against mosquitoes is rooted in nothing else but the fact that I cannot sleep as long as there's one in my room. And I don't mean, I just don't feel comfortable sleeping with bugs. No. I'm saying I'm not allowed to sleep when Satan's angels buzz through my door. And my sleep is something I hold very near and dear to me. Very close to my heart. So naturally, anything that has me waking up at 2 in the morning and then refuses to even let me pretend like it doesn't exist is automatically at the top of my kill list. That shit is too personal. Now, in general, summer just sucks ass, and we as a people need to start being honest about this. But at least all of the bugs that pop out for the season mind their own fucking business. These things, however, make it their mission to turn you into a lick with a level of dedication that I could almost respect. Mosquitoes are so shitty that even the government stepped in and started dropping GMO ones in order to replace the bad ones. And I appreciate that. But unfortunately, it's too little too late. Not to mention the bigger issue now is global warming anyways. Because it's towards the middle of December. I live in New York. I am still getting mosquitoes in my room. And now that I think about it, this shit just got even more personal to me because I am not the only person living here. Yet they only ever seem to want to camp out in my room. Why? What do you say fuck me for? If there's one thing I truly don't understand, it's how something with a brain the size of a fucking raindrop is able to be this goddamn devious. It knows my sleeping patterns, areas of obstructed view, that I even sleep in a bed, and that it should probably wait about an hour before I'm actually knocked out. How? Nigga like me, man, I just ain't having it, and I never was. See, as they kept coming and coming, I kept learning and learning. And then through years and years of seasonal war, I started putting up Will Chamberlain numbers. Body count up in the triple digits as of recently. The last 3 that made the mistake of coming up in here, I killed them within 2 minutes of their first attack. That title you clicked on, I fucking earned that. Now, normally professionals in any field don't give out the game for free, but for you, my friend, I'm going to make an exception. Now pay attention. Over the years, I've compiled everything I've come to know about Earth's most devious creatures into what I call the Hellspawn Handbook. And of course, Satan's Angels get the first chapter. With that being said, Professor Miller is in the building. Class is now in session. Let's start with the basics. Mosquitoes are for blood. Why? To survive and to also lay eggs in still bodies of water. And that body of water could be as small as an open water bottle or as big as a pool. Makes no difference. When we exhale, we release CO2 from our system, more commonly known as carbon dioxide. This is how they track us. If you've gotten a pet recently and noticed that in those past few years you've gotten an increase in mosquitoes, you're not crazy. Because aside from flying through an open crack, mosquitoes will latch onto your pet's fur and use them as a ride to get inside. Crazy, right? I know. Like I said, devious. The mosquitoes that bite you and harass you, stalk you, and insert themselves into your body without your fucking permission are female. Male mosquitoes don't do much of anything. They don't even last more than a week. The females ever last up to 5 months, and that's without food. You cannot wait out a mosquito. And contrary to what you may have been told, your blood type doesn't really make much of a difference. Neither does cranking up the AC or using light as a means of flushing it out. They don't care about any of these things. The only thing that really affects a mosquito to any extent is the scent of citrus, but even that won't stop all of them, which means you only have one choice. You need to kill it immediately. Oh, but what if I went to a friend's house for a week or so? Would it be good? What did I just say? Unless you pack up and go before the summer starts, it'll be waiting right where you left it when you get back. You cannot wait out a mosquito. It needs to be killed. Before you can do that, I gotta boss you up first. You want to be a predator, you're gonna need something to bite with. Or you can start hanging around Trey Songz. So now that we understand it better and its motives, it's time to break down fighting methods. There are 4 to choose from. And number 1, you can strap up with a cleaning spray. Or if you're a real nigga like me, 2 sprays. At number 2, you can use a pillow or something similar with a wide enough surface area to hit it with. At number 3, which is my personal favorite, you can get yourself a zapper and watch him literally obliterate into thin air. Using this thing, it just hits different. And lastly, number 4, you can use your hands, but that's nasty. Ugh. Have some class. Now, there's 3 things worth noting. If you go with option 1, it's not a worthless choice as I'll highlight later. However, being able to kill one of Satan's minions with this method can prove to be quite tricky. Spray as close as you can to the mosquito for a higher intensity shot, and make sure you're trying to aim for the front of the mosquito rather than on top of it. 2, if you decide to use 2 sprays, don't shoot them both at the same time. Meaning, if you shoot the trigger on the right, wait about half a second before shooting the trigger on the left. This means 0 downtime between shots. And 3, if you go at option 2, then you gotta have the swiftness for it, because the speed of these things is so gross. I know, it's a big ass pillow, but you'd be fucking surprised. Whatever built up anger you got, use it. So now that you have a bite that can match that bark, I can finally share with you the most crucial detail I've come to learn about Satan's angels. The absolute game changer. They will always, and I mean always, relocate nearby. Meaning, if it comes near you, you swat at it, you lose it, it's not gonna fly across the room and pick a random spot to hide. It's gonna pick somewhere within that immediate vicinity. So if it tries attacking you in your sleep, I can guarantee it is within 2 feet of that bed, every time. Remember this. With that being said, I think you're ready now, but class ain't over yet, because we're just now getting to the fun part. Killing them. You'll either be in an idle or an active combat situation, resulting in 3 ways you can go about this. Yes, 3. Because there's 2 if you're in active combat. The idle approach essentially just means that you just go about your business as usual because you don't got all day for this thing to show up. You got things to do. So, when doing this approach, simply keep your weapon of choice close by so that when it does show up, you have a chance to up the score on it. And if you're a guy, make sure your dick is out because you need to establish dominance. Good luck. Now when it comes to an active combat situation, meaning you're both trying to pursue each other, then you can either play offense or defense. Seek out its location or let it come to you. It is highly beneficial if you already know the type of mosquito that you're dealing with, as this will greatly influence your approach. So if it's a highly aggressive mosquito, you're going to want to prioritize defense. And if you can consistently find it on a certain type of surface, that means you can pretty much bet on it being there, which means offense is the route you'll likely want to go. If you're playing offense, look in the areas that you know you've seen it in. If you're paying attention, then chances are it hasn't really gone anywhere past a certain radius. Figure out what that is. Stick your head in every last crevice until you find it. Once you do, remind that piece of shit whose house it is. But don't rush it. You lose that thing, it could be another 30 minutes before you find it again. If you're playing defense, stand in a spot that allows you the best visual on it. I'm assuming this is likely playing out in your room, on the top floor where there's a hallway. Open the door, walk down, stand tall, and be ready. Yes, you'll be using yourself as bait here. Don't be scared. Remember, I taught you everything you need to know. Constantly scan the environment and do not hesitate to strike once you have eyes on it. And once you've finally done it, when you finally murdered the intruder that has you up at 2 a.m. looking stupid, there's still one last thing you need to do before you can go back to bed. You gotta bust a move on him. Now, see, I'm from New York, so, I gotta get sturdy, but you could do whatever dance you like, Like you Hispanic, you maybe have a little cha-cha slide or something, you feel me? But this is the point where you celebrate. Enjoy it. Bask in it. Call it a few names. Say rest in piss. Whatever you feel is most deserved. And now that it's all done, you should be proud of yourself. There's an intruder that entered your domain. An intruder that violated you where you were sleeping. Traumatizing you with its buzzing as you lay your head down to rest. But because of what I've taught you, and because of how you applied yourself, you reclaim the sanctity of your home. Not just this time, but for many more times to come. And this is the part where you say, "Thank you, Miller," and I say, "You're welcome." Let me hear it. You're welcome. So 3 months ago, something happened to me one Sunday that was so egregious that the story itself sounds fake as fuck. Me and my boy decided we were going to go to the Post Malone concert, right? Which was pretty good, actually. But he didn't have the immediate cash for it at the time. Just like the last concert we went to. Now, my pockets were a bit tight, but, being the W mans that I am, I decided I'd buy it for him anyways, and he would just pay me back before the concert, right? A few weeks later, he texts me and says he got the money. And in my head, I'm thinking, great. I can go pick it up, deposit it at the bank, and go get something to eat. A Chipotle and Starbucks kind of move since I rarely go there. And it's beautiful out. Hop in my car, drive down to where he posted at. I got Abo blasting through the speakers, windows down with a nice breeze coming through, sun is shining. It's a good day. Now, on the way there, I kept rubbing this one spot on my arm and another on my elbow, but I wasn't really conscious of it. I was just doing it. I eventually get to his crib and I'm outside waiting, so I'm like, you know what? Let me fuck around with this sunroof real quick since I've never used it before. Almost immediately after doing this, I noticed something was in my car. So I'm on guard now. Very quickly, I realize it's a mosquito. And then immediately as I start to rub my arm again, I start putting 2 and 2 together and realize that I'd already been bit. I eventually get out the car with the window still down trying to get it to leave, and eventually I just get back inside. Because mind you, I'm like 10 feet away from this car right now. So whether or not it flew out, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't see it. So my boy finally shows up, we start talking for a minute, and then that's when I notice the mosquito still in the car trying to hit a third lick. I immediately tell something to back the fuck up so I can get out the car. But Picture this. I'm in a not-so-peachy neighborhood with the windows down, door unlocked, keys in the ignition, while I'm standing 10 feet away from this vehicle. Now, I'm not implying anything by this statement, but may or may not explain why I wasn't at that car for more than 30 seconds before realizing I needed to get my ass back inside. So I get back in the car, but this time it had actually worked. And the moment I saw it flying outside the car, I held the slide up button for the window with so much goddamn force and urgency the shit almost broke off. I had to FaceTime bro to continue the conversation because I was not sliding the windows back down. And he was like, "Bro, are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck you think this is?" So we eventually get done talking, I hang up, and it's time for me to drive off. 2 minutes later, as I'm driving down the avenue, I see the same fucking demon flying on top of the windshield. I said to myself,
I know that ain't who I think it is.
now there's still about 10 minutes till I get to the bank. Even though I'd like to think there's no way this thing could possibly follow me that many miles, I just witnessed a whole new level of fuckery that says otherwise. So now I'm on guard again. 10 minutes go by. I get to the bank, deposit my money, and get back in the car just as fast as I had gotten out of it. I drive up to Starbucks. I walk in, and I get that premium, sucking, strawberry side lemonade, of course. Then I walk to Chipotle, get my double chicken rice bowl. I'm set. Been starving for a minute, bro. I'm ready to eat. I walk back to the car. I get inside, and that's when I see it. Satan's angel looking right at me. It was on the side of the rearview mirror, and it didn't even look like a mosquito. It looked like a gigantic, deformed fucking spider, which confused the shit out of me. So after a few seconds of disbelief, I remembered I had a water bottle that was in the cup holder. So I went to go grab it. Except, I'd forgotten that I had just tossed that water bottle out just a few hours ago. I get out the car, contemplate what I'm going to do next because I refuse to have that thing with me while I'm driving. But a couple minutes later, I decided, fuck it. Because in my head, I'm thinking, there is no way I'm walking back that distance with this food. And I'm way too hungry to keep thinking about this shit any longer. So, the only other option is to drive. So I waited for the light to turn green, got in my car, and I fucking floored it. I rolled the windows down, just hitting the gas, praying to God this thing don't show up. Which it did. I saw it flying and zipping around the dashboard, but at that point there was nothing I could do. I just had to keep flooring it. A few tense minutes later, I finally get home and I'm both inside. And obviously, I'm still skeptical whether or not I managed to get in, so I took the idle approach while I was eating my dinner. And I actually managed to get through that exquisite meal without interruption, which made me think it was probably still in the car. Soon as I was done eating, guess who I see? Guess who I fucking see? This shit already felt personal to me by this point, but this is when the rage kicked in. So I'm on the defensive now. Spray bottles in hand, I'm standing around with my head on pivot, laser scanning the environment. And then in the corner of my eye, I see it flying around in the same spot it tried getting me at earlier. So I took my bottles. I raised them up. And after that, all you hear is gunshots. Bow! 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 Just a light show up in this bitch. After it ended, I lost sight of it. I went to go check the crime scene, but couldn't find a body. So I thought I didn't get it. And it wouldn't show up for the rest of the night either. So I was mad at myself for fucking this up. But next day rolls around, and I'm still heated. So I go hunting for it. After a while, I couldn't find anything. So I decided, you know what? Let me check the crime scene again just in case I somehow missed it. And lo and fucking behold, found that bastard lying dead on the hardwood floor. Knockout! I had already won and I didn't even know it. Needless to say, I am not looking forward to next summer because this is shit I'll be dealing with each and every time. Like, you'd think after so many bodies they'd stop coming. You'd think after so many family members go missing they'd stop fucking around and finding out. I don't know what it is, man, but I'll be ready. And I'll be waiting. Round 6 in the thanks to me, baby, because I'm 5 up on that scoreboard.